Welcome to Stampede Your Business. Stampede.
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 Stampede Your Business.
Welcome to the show, Stampede Your Business. We are on part 2 of understanding how to create and connect and build your business. And we're using Stampede Digital Systems as our backdrop for how this is working and make sure it's going to happen. And we are testing it and figuring out how all of this connects. And if you've listened to the show, then you know we've been through part 1, and this is going to be the big overview of part 2, right, Brent?
Yeah, we're gonna jump right in and talk about how to automate your business. So part 1 was about creating the business and starting with the systems and understanding how your business is going to work in general.
And if it's even worth doing.
That's right. And if it is worth doing. Oh my gosh, yeah. Because there are plenty of businesses out there that
aren't worth doing.
Well, there are many that aren't worth doing financially, but maybe they are still worth doing for the good of man or for the good of the person that's doing it. We often call those hobbies or philanthropy. Yeah. But when we talk about creating a business, we're talking about creating $1 million business, something that is actually going to create value for you and those around you.
Yep. Awesome. And now we're in part 2.
Now we're in part 2, which is really exciting. Yeah. So as you mentioned before already in this episode, Bobby, we use Stampede as a model for the stuff that we're talking about.
Stampede Digital Systems.
Stampede Digital Systems.
The biz of the company.
That's right. Because now we have the Stampede Networks, which is a
podcast network.
Is a podcast network.
We might as well go big or go home.
That's right.
Let's get her done.
We keep growing, and it is so exciting and fun and awesome. But in order for us to grow the right way, we have to be able to automate it. And that means creating systems. So part 1, we talked about lots of different systems that you're going to create, but part 2 is all about the systems. It's about building the systems that make sense and doing it right.
Yep.
So we're going to give you a high level of what part 2 is going to be all about. And
if you hit the ground running next week.
That's right. And we're going to hit the ground running next week with the first section of part 1.
Yep.
But if you've been listening to this podcast, you know that we are using a book outline that I created for the intent to write a book, and we're going to use this podcast for that. But the book outline actually came from 3 different books. And so this the part 1 was already done, and now we're talking about design and create systems, your system strategy, how data and systems work together. We're going to talk about creating a management system, which would include your management system that it should resemble a game.
Gamification.
Baby. That's fun. Mm-hmm. Manage your people with game systems, not gaming systems. Gaming systems is like consoles, right? It's
right.
Yeah. We're not talking about that. We don't manage people with consoles. Game systems.
Make it interesting and fun.
Yeah.
To be a part of your business, your company.
Well, and you don't have to.
And the challenge.
You don't have to be like high-fiving each other all the time when you accomplish a task. But every task should have a reward. And
let's face it, monetization is kind of, that as long as you make enough money, whoever you work for is that's a reason to stay, but not that much. If you get asked to go somewhere else, you probably would. But if it's fun and engaging and your job seems really rewarding and exciting, mm-hmm. and it can be if you just sprinkle it with some of these concepts of gaming your business.
Yep, and we're going to talk about that in future episodes here. The next piece is creating a financial system.
The really exciting stuff. Okay, it's boring. Although making money is good. Making money's fun.
the way that Profit First attacks creating a financial system, though, I'm going to have to say, Bobby, that is exciting because
you actually make some money.
Most people run their businesses to make their accountant happy.
Right.
They don't run their business to make themselves happy. I'm going to say that again. Most people run their businesses to make their accountants happy. They don't run their businesses to make themselves happy. And when they do, they're
unless
fighting
you're Walt Disney.
Well, when they do, they're fighting their accountant. And Walt Disney was constantly fighting with his brother over his money, right?
Yeah.
So
Roy would example. Say, Walt, we don't have money to do that. And he'd go, I don't care. We're doing it.
That's right.
Go find it. And he's like, Roy, oh, man. It worked out for him somehow.
It worked out for him. And
people don't realize, though, he failed many things. He went into bankruptcy, Walt Disney. I mean, it was he classic fail, and then hit it big. Well, he failed several times.
Yeah, so it wasn't just fail. It was like fail.
Yeah, and then they thought he was nuts for building Disneyland. They're like, that's ridiculous. Those are horrible. They're lame. Again, boom. Sometimes all you need is a couple wins.
Yep, a couple good wins.
Yeah.
and what he created was a system, and all these pieces
absolutely
in his system work together.
And gamification, all that. Walt was ahead of his time. Ahead of his time.
Absolutely. So when we get to the financial systems, the things that we're going to be talking about is setting up a financial system. Duh. We're going to talk about how to set that up.
Right.
We're going to talk about allocating the account allocation percentages. We're going to talk about putting the plan into motion, what it's going to take to do that. And then there's some extras followed by a quick setup guide provided by Profit First.
Profit First.
So, and we are not being endorsed by them, or we are endorsing them. So that's good.
Yeah, this is just we've found things that really made sense and that we've all kind of done in a lot of our different businesses that have worked. And now we're really taking this hardcore and seeing if it works for Stampede Digital Systems. We have this big vision of hitting over $1 million by the end of this year, or at least getting close. And we're going to see what happens. I mean, we all have other businesses and other things we're doing, but this is kind of this little test base, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah, we want to find out if these guys really know what they're talking about.
Well, and as business owners that we've been, I know all of these things make total sense, and we've all been through them. And I think the reason I know that I've said to read these books and stuff is because I know the truthfulness behind these concepts. So it's not just because these guys said it and it's cool. Being in business for over 30 years, I've seen what works, what doesn't work. And each of these books, I'm like, these are the pieces and parts that fit, that make things work. And they've been written in the books. And so we, instead of reinventing the wheel, we get to look at what works and doesn't work in a lot of different folks.
Yeah. So, and we're putting it all together in a way that makes the most sense for us, because let's face it, you've got to figure out what makes sense for you.
Absolutely.
In order. If you're listening to this podcast and you're saying, well, Stampede did it this way, I have to do it exactly the way Stampede did it, you're probably missing the point.
Yeah.
You've got to find out what works for you. But there's a lot of education, a lot of opportunity, a lot of experience that you can glean from, and then go out and make it better. I want you to be more successful than Stampede.
Yeah, and the proof is in the pudding. Let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of the point of you and me getting together, and we said we should do a podcast and use Stampede as an example to show, at the end of this, where is Stampede at? Is it? I mean, we're already in revenue. We're making money. We have clients, and we're keep pushing the envelope of these concepts.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens in 6 months.
Yeah, and we're looking for more salespeople.
Yeah, we're actually looking to hire more sales folks because that's where practicing
we're at.
What we
preach. We practice what we preach. So Bobby, tell me what kinds of things are we designing? What systems are we designing and creating right now?
At Stampede, Oh my gosh, we have totally taken hold. That's funny. Brett just drank somebody else's water. I don't know how long that's been there or who drank out of it last, but I don't think you have to worry about the virus because I think it's been longer than 3 days, so it should be dead by now. Anyway, darn it, where were we at? Oh, systems, design and create systems. I think high level, when you and me got together, we started this and we were talking about building websites. We were using Builderall as one of the systems, and we realized that websites were missing something. Some of them did follow a certain pattern though. Mm-hmm. And we figured that out and understood this know, like, and trust thing, how to get to build a website to become more than just a pretty site to tell you about your business, but to actually bring people in and want to know more and connect with and know, like, and trust. And we have built out, we have taken a year really to build out that system, to figure it out, build out the system. It is why you can go to stampedeweb.com right now at the top and click on finding the sales site blueprint. That sales site blueprint is a year's worth of work for us to bring together how to create the most powerful website that you can possibly have, which we call sales sites. We don't call them websites.
You know, Bobby, by the time this goes live, we're probably going to have a link on our website that will get you straight to the blueprint as well. So that's exciting.
On the for the podcast, you mean?
Yeah, on the podcast site. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's great.
Yeah, it's all these connections. What works? We're just building this thing, even systematizing everything that we do, right down to the podcast itself. You're producing now. You're doing all the production stuff and doing the editing, and then the systematizing how it goes on the web, how we're making the different sites for each podcast. We have really, I believe Stampede has really taken on this design and create systems. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would definitely say that. I love how Troy, he will sit down and we go to our meetings and he talks about how he's systematizing the sales process. And he says, I want to have conversations like this, and I want to include this in the conversations. I want to teach our salespeople to do it this way. And we're going to provide a document, and we're going to, in fact, just recently, he came up with a new and awesome idea, which is to do your marketing, what do you call that? The marketing value analysis?
To have the client go through and see what they would use and not use out of all the different pieces and parts out there that are marketing, SEO, Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, all of these different things, writing a book. You name it, what will work and what won't work for your business as a marketing tool. I think so he's working on basically another blueprint for what your business needs to use as a marketing tool, right?
Right. Yeah. You could call it a blueprint, because the blueprint that we've been talking about and hashing over through all of these episodes so far has been specifically for your website. This is your to
make it a powerful tool
to turn it into a powerful sales tool. But what Stampede is doing is we're partnering with so many other people, because we realize just because you have a very valuable and useful website doesn't necessarily mean you're getting traffic to that website.
Right.
And so how can we claim that we're offering value with an awesome website if we're not giving you an option or a way of getting traffic to that website? So what Troy has done as our sales guru and the person that's in the trenches working with our clients the most is he's seen this opportunity, and he said, hey, look, we need to provide some way for our potential clients, our prospects, to understand what they actually need.
Yeah.
And so we've partnered with all these different specialists that do these different things, and we've compiled a list our menu of services, if you will. So there's the Stampede product, which is the sales site, but then there are all these other things that are on our menu that just kind of make sense because they work together with what we're creating and selling.
Right.
And so it allows our sales associates to go out and really provide a package value to customers, because we know that you may already have a website. We also know that even if you do build a website with us, you will probably need a lot of other things to be successful in your business. And as the website is, or sales site is, a part of your marketing process or system, your marketing system, there are other pieces that need to be handled. And so we have a system for getting you what you need.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. Yeah. I think we've hit this on the head as far as, and it is extremely important to have processes and procedures and understanding what your business does and how it does it. So cool. What's the second piece? Your systems strategy. What does that mean?
So once you have a system, or once you've been creating systems,
how do you implement it?
How do you implement it? What's your strategy for making that system make sense, or what kinds of systems, what other kinds of systems are you going to need to make in order to create some value?
Yeah.
So in there, we're going to be talking about the difference between hard systems and soft systems. So hard systems is like everything you touch, see, look at. Soft systems is like your selling systems, identification, benchmarks, and other things. We'll go into all that other stuff later. but there's different types of systems that we want to talk about, and when and how to utilize them.
With that said, how does data and systems work together? Isn't that the same thing?
Data is what you collect, and you should be creating systems to collect your data.
Because if you don't know if your systems are working, and the only way to know if your systems are working is to look at the data, right?
Exactly. And so you have to create a system. You have to create your systems in a way that you can collect data from those systems,
or they're useless.
They're useless. Really,
you can. Back in the day when everybody wanted likes, you could get thousands and thousands of likes, which gives you 0 sales.
It's true.
What's the point of getting a bunch of likes if you don't get any sales? That's a system that doesn't work if that's the case.
Right.
If you got data that shows you got lots of likes and you're getting lots of sales, then whatever you're doing is working.
Assuming that there is a correlation between the likes and the sales.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you have to be able to draw the correlation
between the data.
Well.
So the data has to be clean. The data is so important to understanding if you're being successful if you're wasting your time.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you the overall data, the highest level data that you can look at as to whether or not you're successful as a business owner is money.
Revenue.
Is whether or not you're actually making money.
Yep.
If you're creating value, then you're receiving value.
Yep.
And so that money, it's the overarching high, but it's not going to tell you what's working, what's not working. That's why the data in the systems are so important.
Yeah.
Because each step along the way. So, for example, we've created our website, but we've been relying a lot on face-to-face selling in order to sell our products and
currently,
businesses.
Yes, that's the way we've been doing it.
And the goal is to systematize that or create a process to automate selling our sales sites. And there's different levels of requirement there, because our $500 sites, those are things that we could really automate quick and easy after we have so many under our belt and we just start knocking them out. The $1,500 sites, on the other hand, those tend to be a little more involved, and so it's going to take a little bit more work to automate that. But we can automate pieces of it to simplify the process. And as we're automating things, one of the things that we're going to start looking at is how do we go from advertisement to sale. And there are at least 4 steps between the advertisement and the sale in an automated process. So, for example, if we were to put out a Facebook ad, then we know how many responses to that Facebook ad are going to lead to our website. And so once we know if the Facebook ad is doing its job and we're getting people at our website, then we take a look at the website and we say, okay, how many of the people that are visiting our website are actually actually doing something on our website, or actually clicking on the blueprint or doing something there. And once they start taking action on our website, then we say, okay, our website's working. Now we have an email campaign that follows up on that. Because let's face it, the blueprint is a lot to go over. It's a lot to look at. You're not going to make a decision from just looking at the blueprint. We hope that you're going to take some time to do the blueprint before making a decision.
Which we even before you start to build the site, we want you to fill that out.
Oh, absolutely. And so then we have this email campaign that follows through on the blueprint visits. And so you start getting these emails that are going to say, hey, we understand where you're at. We're gonna connect with you. Let me tell you a little bit about our story a little bit more, so you can get to know us a little bit better, because that whole know, like, and trust thing is really important. And we're going to use those emails to guide the interested individuals,
and all of that is systems that run on data,
those
and we can
all
see
separate systems.
Yeah, that have data connected to them that can tell us if they're working or not.
Exactly, and they're all separate systems, but they all work together in one big system to create
know, like, and trust, and to connect and get clients,
and to create clients.
Yeah.
from advertisements.
Yep.
And so every single one of those, and that's why the system is the systems are so important. The data is so important. You've got to know if I were to just throw out the ads, if I hire an ad agency and I say, okay, get me sales. And they're working hard and they're doing their best and whatever. And I'm getting some sales, but I'm not getting the kinds of sales that I want. I can't just go to that advertising agency and say, you suck.
Well, you can. But
well, you could.
It won't get you very far.
Right. Because what if that advertising agency is doing a phenomenal job? I mean, really, if they're sending people, if they're getting people to you and you suck.
Right.
Where does the buck stop? Who's responsible for that?
And how are you going to know that?
How do you know that?
Without the data.
You can't fix that if you don't know it, and you don't know it without the data.
Right.
And you need a system to collect that data.
Right.
Systems are awesome.
Systems are awesome, and you got to have data around. Okay, create management systems. Oh my gosh. Your management system should resemble a game. What are we talking about there?
So we talked about hiring people already, and the first people that you're going to start hiring are salespeople, because you need to create more work for yourself. And once you are overwhelmed with work, or hopefully well before you're overwhelmed with work, once you start seeing that train coming, you should hire someone to take some of that load off and make it a little bit easier for you.
Take a load off, Annie. Oh.
Yeah, exactly, Annie. Annie, if you're listening, take a load off and hire someone.
I don't even know if it's Annie. I can't remember. Is that the right word? Take a load off, Granny. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Annie, Granny. Just take a load off.
Yeah, take a load off.
Yeah, so...
resemble a game. What does that mean? Why do we have that there?
So games are all about simple tasks, quick feedback, and rewards. And not all rewards are money and tokens. Some are intrinsic rewards, but there has to be some kind of a reward for accomplishing the task. So then, for example, I've got my inbox, and I'm plugging through my inbox, and I'm working through all the stuff that's in my inbox. Well, once I finish with my inbox and it's empty, and I have nothing left to do for the rest of the day, I feel rewarded because I've accomplished everything that was in my inbox. And not only that, but if I'm on the clock, I've got a little bit of free time and I'm getting paid to.
I'm excited for us to get to that one, to do that whole show and really understand this gamification thing. It's a powerful tool, and I don't think anybody hardly ever thinks about it.
Yeah.
The companies that do have very happy employees.
Well,
And that don't leave. And if you can create a space where your employees don't ever want to leave, no matter what people offer them in money, you've got a great start for a powerful company.
Well, and that's all about creating culture, and
right, which is a part of this.
Well, if you have gamified your system, if you've systematized your management and gamified it, then it's easier to hire people, for one, because you are giving them simple tasks. You're making it easy for them to do the job or to learn the job. And so instead of focusing on finding people that already know how to do the job and making sure that they know how to do the job, because you've got a gamified system. There's so many words out there that just I don't want to overlap it the wrong way. But if you have a good gaming system or game system, then you can focus on hiring the right people that'll fit your culture.
Right.
And that is so important, is hiring the people that'll fit your culture, the culture that you're trying to create, because especially in the beginning, because those first people are your culture.
Yeah. I had a buddy that was at the main business of Zappos, the shoe thing down there in Vegas.
Yeah.
He said it was pretty fun. He said the corporate office was just so much fun and so much high energy and good stuff. He said at one point when you walk down the hall, if two people meet at the hall, then there has to be a dance off to see who goes by who first.
Aha, that's cool.
I'm like, I could get a hold of that. I could like that.
But I think about the people that I work with today, and how many of them would want to do a dance off. And these are
that's the culture that you're talking about.
Individuals. That's the culture. If you hire people that aren't going to respect those rules and have fun with it, then you're going to lose it.
But
that's a losing battle.
And when you're vague with your employees and what your culture is and don't understand it, then you're going to hire people that won't connect, that won't be in your culture. So being precise and really understanding that culture and gamifying all of that helps you pick the right people for your business.
Yeah, and I'm so excited about part 2 of this season because we get to dive in deep in each of these and really spend some time mulling it over and talking about how we can do that with Stampede, and then how you can do that in your own business.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up, create a financial system. We're going to dig deep into that too, but that is kind of this last piece of part 2, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So this has been awesome. This is what we're going to talk about in the next however many episodes it takes for us to get through this, and then we will do a due diligence and maybe a full transparency of Stampede Digital Systems and see where we're at after we're done with all this.
So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Thank you.
We'll see whether or not we followed it very well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. And if we did follow it very well, what kind of metrics do we get out of it?
Yeah.
That'll be fun to see and understand. I'm kind of excited to see how that works out. So, folks, thanks for listening to Stampede Your Business. This has been a Stampede Networks production.
It is now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Stampede Your Business. Stampede.
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 Stampede your business.